Air is breathed in and out through the lungs. The reason air is moved in and out is due to pressure changes in the thorax which occurs from breathing movements. The movement of air is known as ventilation. The rib cage is semi-rigid and the pressure can be lowered with respect to the air outside it. To understand ventilation fully, we need to know some components of the respiratory system and parts of the thorax. So we have the rib cage here, which is semi-rigid, and it can help to lower the pressure with respect to the air outside it. The diaphragm is located here, and it's a domed sheet of muscle which forms the floor of the thorax. We also have external and internal intercostal muscles which are between the ribs. The thorax is lined by the pleural membrane which surrounds the lungs. The space between them is the pleural cavity, and it's filled with a thin layer of lubricating fluid, so the membranes slide over each other as you breathe. So let's talk about the ventilation process. There are two components of ventilation. We have inspiration, which means taking air in, so let's talk about this process. So inspiration is taking air in, or inhalation, and it's an active process which requires energy. The diaphragm contracts, flattens, and lowers. The external intercostal muscles contract, moving the ribs upwards and outwards. So these two changes, the diaphragm contracting and lowering, and the external intercostal muscles contracting and moving the ribs upward and outwards, it increases the volume of the thorax. So the pressure inside the thorax is reduced. This lower pressure in the thorax compared to the pressure of the atmospheric air outside of the body. There is now a lower pressure in the thorax compared to the pressure of the atmospheric air outside the body. So because of this, air is drawn in through the nasal passages, the trachea, the bronchi and the bronchioles, and then eventually into the lungs. The purpose of this is to help equalize the pressure. So that's the process of inspiration. We then have expiration, and this is actually a passive process, so it doesn't require energy. The opposite actually happens, so we have the muscles of the diaphragm relaxing now instead of contracting. So they relax and the diaphragm moves back into its resting position. We have the external intercostal muscles relaxing, so the ribs move downwards and inwards. The elastic fibers of the alveoli of the lungs also return to their normal length, and all of these factors cause the volume in the thorax to decrease, which increases the pressure inside the thorax, so that it's higher than the pressure of the atmospheric air. So air moves out of the lungs to try and equalize the pressure. So exhalation in general is passive, but you can actually exhale a bit more forcibly using energy, and that turns it into an active process. So if you force breathing out or breathing out rapidly, that requires energy. In that kind of situation, what happens is the internal intercostal muscles contract, which pulls the rib down hard and fast, and then the abdominal muscles also contract, which force the diaphragm upwards to increase the pressure in the lungs rapidly, and then we are able to forcibly breathe out. So this is covering inspiration and expiration. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section below.